Okay, well, we had two major objectives for the symposium. The first was to share knowledge. Well, we had 250 presentations, oral and poster presentations, and the number is impressive. The content was spectacular, and we were limited because the poster room only held 100. Had we had a larger space, we would have had more. The program could only accommodate 150 because of the time. So we're going to figure out how to take more in 2 years from now because we think. So our first objective of sharing knowledge, I think that we can check that box. That was accomplished. In terms of strengthening existing and creating new relationships, there were more than 450 people attended this symposium. And considering that we lost a substantial number to competing meetings, that won't happen 2 years from now. But the community continues to increase in size. And I hope we provided ample time for networking. I have a feeling just from watching people that we could have provided a lot more. So how we get more presentations and more networking, and we'll work on that with your suggestions. As I said when we started the last session, we have this shared vision of focused ultrasound, really creating a revolution in therapy, creating a revolution in therapy. 10 years ago, those were just words. It wasn't even a vision, it was more like a fantasy. I think based on what we've seen and heard today and your projections for the future, I think that vision is a reality now. In the last 10 years, there's been a growth in mechanisms that we understand from 3 to 18 and indications in various stages of development, from 3 to more than 100, from 5 to 46 manufacturers. The amount of investment flowing into these companies is increasing rapidly. The amount of research, as you could see from all the presentations, is increasing. Regulatory approvals are starting to move ahead. The FDA is becoming a lot more collaborative. Our goal of having the FDA be a bridge rather than a barrier to the development and adoption of the technologies been achieved. We're starting to see reimbursement, and the number of patients treated is increasing exponentially. So 2 years ago at the symposium, I said that, well, let me back up. The diffusion or adoption of a therapeutic device occurs exponentially. And 2 years ago, I said that we were just at the beginning of the inflection point. I think that it's clear that we're in the middle of that inflection point, and that we are clearly transitioning from an environment where there's an emphasis on research to clinical and now to commercial reality. And it's critical that we have some commercial successes, because if there's no commercial success, the vision will never be achieved. We're going to continue to focus this meeting on translational and clinical and commercial activities, looking at technology only where it's a predicate for those other items. We're going to try and move as much of the technical and engineering content to ISTU, just because we don't have the time. So all in all, I think that this is, at the beginning I said this was the biggest and the best symposium we've had because of all of your efforts. There is no question in my mind, and the bar is set really high for the next one. So thank you for all of your contributions. I hope that you all enjoyed yourselves, which to me was the most important thing. And then we have upcoming meetings. The Winter School in March of 2019. a terrific meeting in Barcelona, a joint meeting between ISTU and the European Society, and talk about enjoying yourself. It'll be a lot nicer than Reston, I assure you. And that's by design, by the way. The next symposium, Focused Ultrasound Foundation Symposium, will be in the DC area sometime at the end of October, beginning of November 2020, and in the next weeks or maybe a couple of months, we'll nail down that date. Please share your thoughts. We know that this was a successful meeting, but we also know that we can make it better. And most importantly, thank you all for everything that you've done, and thank you for making this meeting a success.